It's fall, so you know what that means. There are leaf blowers outside, clearing up the runways, and I have no control over that. If you hear the buzzing and the hummings from the audio commentary, then that's my bad. I can't really do anything about it. But today what I wanted to do was talk about one of the most interesting waiver claims we have ever seen. And I don't know if I'm hyperbolizing by saying that, but here it is from Elliot Friedman, the tweet from earlier today. The Vegas Golden Knights have claimed forward Grigori Denisenko off of waivers from the Florida Panthers. Now, this is super interesting to me, and it's why I wanted to make a video about it, but there are multiple things that make this an intriguing waiver pickup. Firstly, you have the fact that it's Vegas that actually stakes a claim in a player/prospect. Vegas won the Cup last year. So, when it comes to the waiver wire order, they were literally last. This guy, Grigori Denisenko, was passed over by all 30 NHL teams, except for Vegas at the very end, who put in a claim and said, yeah, we'll take this guy for free. So already, there is a peculiar element to this claim, with Vegas being the only team staking the claim. But for Grigori Denisenko, this is a guy who had such a high ceiling back when he was a 2018 first-round pick. He was taken 15th overall by the Florida Panthers. June 24th, 2000, the birth date, so he's just a tad older than I am. 23 years old, 5'11", 185, right-handed left-wing player. Now, what I mostly remember about Grigori Denisenko was back before he was even a draft-eligible prospect, when this guy was playing in the MHL for Loko Yaroslavl. There you go. When he was playing for Loko Yaroslavl, he was a very competent point producer as an underage player. 22 points, 28 games played as a 16-year-old guy. Or, 16-year-old. Yeah, that was a U17 season he had back in 2016-17. There was already a good amount of hype for Denisenko back in this time frame, and of course, his crazy good point production in the U17 and U16 leagues. This guy was lighting up the Russian scene as a teenager. And as a draft eligible, he was good for Team Russia at international tournaments, and he played in the MHL once more, which is why he was taken 15th overall by the Panthers. If you go over to the scouting reports from Dauber back in this time frame, take a look at what it says here. Jokka Nevalainen wrote this back in the day. Denisenko, who was drafted 15th overall by the Panthers, is a right-handed shot winger who prefers playing on the left side in typical Russian fashion. He is not big, but he plays bigger than his size. He's a very good skater and an extremely talented and creative offensive player, but needs to work on his discipline. Denisenko had a slow start to his season in the MHL, but there was a much better second half to his season. He has a KHL contract until 2020, but there might be some sort of out clause because reports are saying Denisenko could play in the CHL next year. Now, spoiler alert, he did not play in the CHL. He stuck around in Russia for a while, was never too productive with Lokomotiv Yaroslavl. He had 12 points in 38 games in the KHL 2019-20, and then for the World Juniors was the captain for Team Russia, posting up 9 points in 7 games played. After that, actually, we should probably align everything. There you go. Yeah, how does that look? You could hear the lawnmowers and the leaf blowers outside because it's fall now. Pretty crazy stuff, eh? But ever since then, Denisenko was playing in the Florida Panthers Syracuse Crunch system, Charlotte Checkers as well, because the AHL team for the Panthers kind of got messed around over the past few years. He never really had too much of a breakout role in the NHL, playing just a total of 26 games and getting, 7 points? But last season, he did play in the AHL for Charlotte, having 36 points in 56 AHL games. Now, the thing with Denisenko, and the thing that most Panthers fans are saying, yeah, I know the Panthers have fans, nobody go out there and meme this now. The thing that's interesting about this is that Denisenko has not really presented too well in the preseason thus far. There's a reason this guy got waived. He got sent down with a bunch of other Florida Panthers guys, and realistically, when it comes to the argument of Denisenko versus Simashev, a lot of people are saying Simashev has really earned a much greater spotlight than Denisenko thus far. Now, for Denisenko, he is 23 years old, so it's not like he's the youngest guy in the world, but there still is some room for him to exhibit NHL quality gameplay, considering that he's only really played 26 games at at the NHL level. This is a guy who definitely has a bit more to show, and if he's anything like he was back when he played with the Panthers in 2020-2021, there still is more point production there, and even a first NHL goal, which has not been scored yet either. Back when he was playing in his team with the Russian squads, let's go back over here, he was a pretty good point producer, goal-scoring machine, and this 2015-16 era is kind of what put Denisenko on the map in my mind as being a solidified top prospect that could go in the first round. If you go over to some of these Dalibor reports and just scroll over, read what else it is that it has to say. Can we zoom in? How does that affect the page? That looks a little bit better. Yeah, it's because all the scouting reports are on the side here. I mean, there are some more responses talking about other prospects. Owen Tippett, there's a lot of hype with that guy. Denisenko has been cut from the Panthers training camp in 2021. Regardless of his eventual upside, look for Denisenko to be among first line in call-ups to the big club as the season wears on and injuries strike. He didn't really have too many games played there. March 2022, it says here that Denisenko is 7th on his AHL team in scoring and is probably neither a bust nor a top-line talent at this point. He almost scored during his only game with the Panthers this year by cutting to the middle to get a high-danger shot and then crashing the net to get his own rebound. That should say the net, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, Ben Garrels. The flashes of dynamism are still there, and Denisenko can still contribute in the near future with an NHL lineup as a skilled, chaos-causing middle sixer with upside, whether that's with the Panthers or elsewhere. He is under contract until the end of 22-23, after which he is an RFA. Showing consistency with his scoring at the AHL level would help his case for being a permanent call-up. That was a year ago in March. Now, if you look at the most recent one, it says that he had signed a 2-year, one-way contract, so he's going to get paid the same amount of money whether or not he's in the NHL, AHL, plus there's a waiver exemption, or not exemption, excuse me, he was on waivers. My goodness. There's a waiver eligibility, excuse me. There were some minor bright spots for the Russian in 22-23, however, after only averaging 33 games a year per all levels since being drafted, he finally put together a full campaign of 70 games between the AHL and the NHL. Plus, his point per game in the minors increased slightly, from a .6 to a .64. So Grigori Denisenko, in my mind, is one of the most interesting waiver pickups we have seen in the past little while here. Firstly, because it's Vegas. This is a team that needs young guys because they trade all their young guys away. We talk about the Peyton Krebs, you talk about all of their draft picks, you talk about some of these guys like Nick Suzuki, Eric Brunstrom, Cody Glass. Vegas just trades away everybody. So when it comes to their young core, claiming a guy like Denisenko, who had a really high ceiling back when he was drafted, definitely does not seem like a bad move in my opinion. It's just weird that Vegas is the only team that saw enough value in this player to put the claim in the first place. Because all 30 NHL teams, of course, Florida's not included in that, 30 other NHL teams said no to taking this guy. The last one was able to say, yeah, we want him. So if Denisenko, I mean, if he gets on waivers again, he'll be probably sent down to the AHL. So, assuming the Vegas Golden Knights actually want to use this guy in their lineup, this might be the opportunity for a lifetime here. Going over to a Stanley Cup championship team that needs young talent and that is looking to give you minutes in their middle to maybe even bottom six. Hopefully not bottom six. Denisenko was a pretty good scorer in the AHL and in the Russian leagues, so hopefully he plays a little bit higher up in the lineup if he even plays at all. Maybe he's just an extra scratch type of guy, but who really knows? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about one of the most high-profile Russian scorers in the past few years to be a first-round talent getting claimed off of waivers by the Vegas Golden Knights? What are your thoughts about how he's played so far with the Florida Panthers? I've seen a lot of Panthers fans be disappointed in the way that he's progressed, but if the Vegas Golden Knights see some potential in this guy that they don't, but they claimed him, they want to use that for their own team, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you think this is going to affect the Golden Knights? I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.